Hello everyone, my name is Hector Mendoza. I'm here with Tommy Weber. We're gonna go over a bunch of the pull down menus in Xactimate. Now he's using X1 and unfortunately I don't have it on mine because I you know I like closing claims and X1 is just slow and I do a bunch of large losses and I always want to close 3 claims a day. I can't do it with X1. You can't use all the commands. But anyway, so I'm going to show him a bunch of the pull down menus. A lot of these pull down menus are going to be exactly the same, practically. Okay. So once I load X1 on this machine, which I'm going to go through the last day. I know X1 as good as I know exact 28, but this is what I use. So I'm going to show him some pull downs on my machine. So first of all, when you open up Xactimate, it usually comes up in the control center, right? If you go to projects, you can create a new, uh, let's say, estimate, right? So if I click here on the right-hand side, it'll pull this menu up. And when you type, so I'm gonna call this like pool, and I can't put a space, but I can put an underscore, and then down. Oops. Is that right? Okay. Pull down menus. Okay. So now, so we're not gonna. We're gonna go ahead and do this information because you will have this on X1 too. So let's say this was a new customer. There are some carriers that you are gonna have to fill everything out. You're gonna have a declaration page, and then it's gonna tell you, okay, uh, here's all the information. So I'm just gonna pretend I'm the insured. Okay, so put it his name, right? And then the property is normally what you're gonna go inspect. And I'm just gonna put and you see how I just hit TX? Okay. Then I hit tab. Well, actually, it's better just to click here, and I'm gonna put my name. Hey, look, now y'all know my telephone number. Here's my email address. Uh, okay, now, see, if you notice here, and remember, this is going to be similar to X1. You see, this is my home telephone number. Now, let's say that I had a business number. You would put that one in there. I'm just going to put 000 so you can see that it changes. And then let's say that you have a fax number. So, okay. And let me see what else kind of number. You could put a pager. That was if you know about pagers, you're as old as I am. So anyway, cellular. So that is my phone number. Okay. So now, so when you fill this out, this is for the property. Now, sometimes people have their mail sent to their home. So if you go here and you put home, okay, then this is where you would put your home. So this one I'm just going to, that's a Big Spring address. It doesn't matter. I'm just putting numbers down. Okay. So now you can select from property. You can select from home, whichever one you want whenever you're going to do the invoicing. Okay. So, so when somebody's preparing this estimate from the get-go, as soon as you start keying in information, it's gonna insert this and this uh, in this field. So let's say that the date of loss was a month ago. Two ways of doing this. Now, when you're keying in information here, you can't put 7/10/21. Well, it did. Used to you couldn't. You used to have to put 07/10/2021. Uh, And then, so look, if I just double click here, it'll put the time that it's right now. Or you can go in here and say, let's say, no, uh, the date of loss was at 1:03. You see, that's why you can't hit 1:03 because look, so let's say I put 1.03, see 1300. So you have to go 01:03, which is 1 o'clock, 3 minutes after 1 o'clock p.m. So always pick. I'm used to always put it in the zeros in there. Okay, so now, so uh, so date received. Usually, when I open it up, the machine is going to put in the date I received this thing, or I can put that in there. So let's say I received it today. Uh, Here, almost did a mistake. 10/20/21, but I got it at 9 a.m. Okay, 09 a.m. Okay, so then, so when you open up the document, this is what it's going to look like. Actually, it's probably going to look like this because it's probably going to be the property that you're going to go inspect. Now, uh, in it, I have some pre-populated stuff because of how my preferences are set. So you see the claim rep, it automatically put my name. The estimator, it put my name. I'm not going to go over this too much. I'm going to do it real quick because look, we're going to go everything here. Yes. So it's asking if I want to update the price list, but I'm just going to go back. Okay, so um, we have to cover this, we got to cover this, we got to cover this, we got to cover this, and we got to cover this. So there's a lot of stuff to cover. In addition, we're going to cover all of that. We're going to cover this. We're going to cover all of this. Okay, so I'm going to talk real fast, and this will give you an idea of what Xactimate is. Uh, on claim rep, it's usually going to be set already for you, but if you did have to do it, you would click here, and then let's say that you don't have already your name in here, you would hit add, and I'm going to say Billy Bob. Okay, and then this automatically puts in this code for you, and let's say it's zero, the telephone number is 101 or 108 827 423, the telephone number, right? And your email is abc at cdef dot gmail.com. Okay, or actually at abc at gmail.com, excuse me, .com. Okay, now you don't want to put more information in this because let's say you piss off the customer and he wants to come back and find you. He's going to know your address, your zip code, and everything. So usually they just ask for your name. Billy Bob, I put Billy Box. Okay, so you just usually put your name, your last name, your telephone number, and your email address. Usually they're not going to ask you to put all this other information. So let's say the company, it would be like FatNet, USAA. I'm going to put Mendoza. I have a construction business, so I'm going to put Mendoza here and hit OK. So, uh, and if you wanted to put your adjuster license number, you would put it here. Your FCN number, your flood, not your flood. That's actually your FCN. Then you can put your adjuster tax ID number here, but you usually don't put that. Also, your FedNet address would go right here. Some people require that. So we're gonna go ahead and hit save. Uh, the phone number is invalid. Okay, so I'll put my real number here.
Chose the digit off.
Oh, okay. How about 0? Oh, 0, and hit OK. Hey, I just made it valid. So you would select the one you would want, right? So I put Billy Bob, hit OK. And so Billy Bob is a claim rep. You would do the same thing with estimator. So let's say that Billy Bob was the claim representative and the estimator. then, let's say you might have a big list of adjusters or personnel, right? All you got to do is just type Billy or Bill. Yeah, I didn't put Billy Bob, I put Bill Bob. So I'm going to click here, hit OK. Now it filled that in for you. On your reference, this is what other company are you representing? Like Safeco, Liberty Mutual, First American, Ohio Casualty. Some people want a reference number there. So I'm just going to put Safeco just for the heck of it. Okay. Uh, if you were going to, if the, okay, some companies want you to put the contractor if they're going to get paid. In other words, they have a document saying that the insured won't collect money. It's going to go straight to the contractor. You probably would want their information here, but they would have to have some kind of documentation stating that they are the ones that are going to receive the money. Okay, right here is where you would put the mortgage company. So we're just going to skip all of that. Now, covers loss. So here is where you would put the claim number like 001100009. Okay, the policy number would be probably like FADNet, FAD, FADNet 000 2304 or whatever. The type of loss. What kind of claim are you doing? Are you doing a tornado, theft? Are you doing a smoke or sewer? Let me see, hail. If you just type the first character, it'll go straight to what kind of um, claim it's going to be. So we're just going to say it's a hail claim. And then the code. So normally, this code is usually whenever you have a named storm or named hurricane, and then they'll have some kind of code here. Okay. Tommy. So, okay. So this policy dates. What this is when the insured is covered. So let's say that his policy started in January the 1st of 2021. Now, look, as soon as I hit tab, look what happens here. I'm going to hit tab. It automatically knew most policies are going to be good for a year. So it go ahead and fills out that year for you. Now, this initial coverage is, let's say this customer has been with you since January the 1st of 1984. Then and the reason they like to have this number is so that when you have a customer that's been with you 30, 40 years, you're going to tell them, sir, thank you for your uh, business. We noticed that you've been with us for 30x years, and I appreciate you being with us that long. So the next thing we're going to go and discuss is this policy type. Is it commercial or this homeowners? We're going to work on homeowners. This form number, we're not going to go over that. I've never filled one of those out, so I'm not going to lie to you. I don't want somebody saying, what the heck is that guy talking about? I've been doing this for 20 years. He don't know what he's talking. I don't know. Okay, so what this is, let's say you have a $1,000 deductible. This is where you would put your deductible. Okay, now, so you have dwelling, other structures, contents, and loss of use. So let's say that you have a $300,000 home. Okay, normally your other structures are going to be 10% of that. So you would normally just get 30, $30,000 for your other structures, like the detached garage, your barns, your sheds, your dog house, fence. Those are called other structures. Now, if your fence is attached to the dwelling, sometimes some companies will allow you to put that with the A structures. Okay, contents are like your bed, sometimes your refrigerator, you know, your tennis shoes, socks, I was going to say underwear, but I did already. Shirts, pants, whatever, anything that belongs to you. So basically, if you had a house and you tore the roof off, if you shook it upside down, whatever does not fall off that house is probably going to be part of the structure. If it falls out, it's probably going to be contents. I've seen contents up to $100,000, and they had a small house. But if that's what they say they want to cover, they're going to pay for that. So if they only put $5,000 content charge, their premium is going to be based on $5,000 worth of contents. But if they say they have $100,000 worth of stuff, then they're going to pay the premiums of $100,000. You know, in your declaration. Loss of use. Loss of use is, let's say you have a renter, and uh, and the whole house is damaged. Now all of a sudden you can't collect that $500 that you pay that he pays you every week or every month, right? So a lot of times, let's say that you had $80,000 worth of a loss of use. So this is called A, B, C, and D coverage. Now, when you go to TWIA, flood, all of that changes, and we can talk about that in other kinds of.
HO1 and all that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, those are. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He was asking about HO1, HO2, HO3, HO4s. I actually created this Excel file that uh, that I created, and I gave him a copy of this. But you know, I, and if y'all ever want this right here, y'all can have a copy of it. Hopefully, you'll be one of my subscribers. This explains everything about HO1, HO2, HO3, HO4, HO5, blah, blah, blah. And then what I did was I created this Excel file where you can compare them side by side. What an HO1 does, what an HO2, what's an HO3, 4, 5, 6. There's no 7, and there's an 8. Okay. And then this explains all your, your perils and all other than, in other words, this is a, uh, all perils when you're talking about this right here. In other words, everything is included in your policy except this right here. And here, all of these things, most of your policies, most of them, even the high end HO5s, is the Rolls Royce of insurance. If you have an HO5, it covers everything except this item right here. And all the other ones do not cover what you see. Now, a lot of these things can be what they call endorsements uh, to a policy. So you can add some of this stuff, but not too many of it. I don't see too much of this stuff. Somebody was asking me, there were some birds in his attic, if it was a covered. I'm like, no. Unless if you have some kind of, um, you know, something in your policy that states it. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that. Anyway, so here we go. So now from coverages, we're going to go to parameters. Okay, in parameters, you have this thing called the price list. A price list is based on zip code, and when they say based on zip code, it could mean the price of the material for that zip code. It could mean the labor and anything that is associated with that zip code is different from any other zip code. This is how they base this price list. This price lists are updated on a monthly basis, and each one of them depends on what state you're working in is going to have different tax jurisdictions, and you'll get to know that. So let's say you're in Utah, and you don't know the zip code. If you say, let's say Big Spring, Utah, and you put tax, you're going to find out what the tax is for that jurisdiction. Okay, now, so we're gonna skip this and this because those usually you don't ever mess with. Okay, I haven't. Okay, so So this is usually set like this. Now, every once in a while, you might have to um, do a salvage slash restore. In other words, so let's say that you had a gold uh, a gold measuring tape, and it was real gold, and the measuring tape broke, and they said, "Hey, man, you know my measuring tape is broke, and this is solid gold, so I need for you to pay me uh, for this measuring tape." You're like, okay, well, how much did it cost? Well, it cost $120,000. Well, let's first of all, you're only going to pay for what the limit says, but I'm just using an exaggerated number. So what they would do is like, okay, well, you know what? It can't be repaired, so we'll pay you for it because we owe it up to the limits. But you know what? We want that item because we know we can sell that gold. Okay, so we're going to pay you what the difference is. In other words, if we can get $10,000 out of that in solid gold, well, we'll subtract $10,000. But this is where you would put that kind of information right here. Okay, that's what that means. So labor burdens. So uh, it's because I have it on the that I want to skip for right now. So sales tax, you know, do you want to add overhead and profit on material cleaning, material sales, uh, or total tax? You have to go in here and like here, let's say you say neither. In other words, you're not going to pay overhead profit on none of that stuff. So you could click there because some people don't want to pay overhead taxes on overhead and profit. So here you would tell it neither. Or you can say tax on overhead and profit or overhead on tax. But there's some few changes that you can do through here, but I just kind of want to let you know what this thing is. Okay. Uh, Additional charges. Let's say that you have permit fees, um, you know, um, there's other fees that you could be associated that you might have to pay. You would add here, or you can add additional kind. You know, you would go in here and I don't know, I can't think of any other. There's other things that you could add in here that you're gonna have to pay for. Okay, so advance payments. Let's say that you were working a supplement. You're gonna learn about supplements. You don't know nothing about those yet, Tommy. So what this is let's say that you created a an estimate, and then 3 months later, the insured called the insurance company and say, hey, you know what? This is what y'all told me y'all were gonna pay, but you know what? We found additional damages that were not foreseen, and the outside adjuster told me if we saw that to call y'all, and this is what we found. Here are the supporting documents like the photos, things of that nature. So let's say that you had already gave him $30,000, then you would go in here and let's say you already had a payment. You would click add, and then let's say that you gave them $30,000 advance, and let's say there was a check like 00789, right? But in your advance in the dwelling, because you know you can apply to the dwelling, other structures or contents. Let's say that you gave them a $30,000 check. We did, the insurance company did. Then you would go in here and then you would record a payment. Then you would click here. Uh, then you close it, right? And you would have to click here to include advance payment. If you don't do that, it's not going to show up on your estimate. So make sure you do that. We're briefly going to talk about depreciation options. You know, I'm just going to go over the broad thing. Okay, so a lot of times the insurance company is going to say, hey, you're not going to, the maximum amount of depreciation is going to be, let's say, 90%. So in other words, if a house was supposed to only live, have a value of 100 years, after that, it's past its usage. Then and you had $100,000 you owed them, but you depreciated it. The most you could depreciate that, the maximum would be 90 years. And if you have an actual cash value property, then you would only give them $10,000. Now, if you had a replacement cost value, you would give them $90,000, and then once they, uh, excuse me, you'd give them $10,000, and then because it would be depreciated by 90%, once they did the repairs, then you would give them the additional monies. But you know, there's a you know there's we have videos that cover all of this stuff I'm talking about. I'm just doing a broad overview of Xactimate. Company header. So let's say, like I have a company called Mendoza. I do construction, okay, and I also do adjusting for other firms. So uh, I would put my Mendoza logo when we print the invoice. The opening statements, you could go in here and let's say, like this particular opening statements is based on the results of our inspection. We have completed this estimate for repairs and blah, 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 blah. You can go in there. So this comes at the beginning. So I'm going to hit Control P so you can see where this shows up. So if you go view and you had an estimate, oops, let me see. I had the way this thing does this right here. So here, right there, you see, there's your opening statement and there's your closing statement. Okay, so that's where that would go. Now, a lot of this closing and opening statements are given to you by the people that are you working for or the carriers that you are going to represent. Okay, loss recap. I'm not going to go over that too much. There's a lot of good usage for it, but yeah, it's something I'm not even going to go over that too much. Um, report management. This is where you can do a lot of your forms, and that's another whole different. Uh, some insurance companies are going to have you use these forms that are pre-populated, okay, but we're not going to go over this stuff. Like all this stuff is for flood, and then some of this, I know Crawford and some companies use these things right here, custom forms. um, so let's say that you wanted a preliminary report. You could add it in here. So watch this. Okay, so we're gonna skip all that. So let's go to sketch, and I'm gonna go over this real quick. So I'm gonna start from the left to the right, and then we're gonna go all the way to the bottom. You'll know what every one of these things do. Okay, so and you see some of these items are grayed out because you can't just click on orientation and do anything with it because there has to be a prior action in order for you to select that. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So on rooms, you can go create a room or you can do a dimensional rooms. Dimensional rooms, we'll talk about it later. It's most of us go in and use rooms. Okay, so uh, I'll do it real quick for you. Let me show you what a dimensional room is. So if you click here, you go in and you call it, let's say bedroom, right? Bedroom. Okay, so let's say that the room is a 10 by 10, 10 by 10, and the height is 8. Okay, and we're going to talk about all of this. For right now, we're going to call it a peak. Okay, that's going to give you the reason I use peak because it's going to give you different dimensions. So the peak height, you see right here in the center of, well, I can make this in the center. So let's say it's 16 feet high, and the short wall, and I'm going to do both of them. The tall wall and the short wall 8, and it'll be a perfect, almost like a diamond, right? Distance from the floor, we're set. That's okay. If it's not my wife, does it say Elizabeth? Uh, no. Okay. So the distance from the peak is, it usually brings it down in the middle because look, so we told it the length of 12, so it divided by 2, and I'll show you exactly what that looks like in a minute. So, and then we're going to tell it insert room, and look, and we're gonna hit done. Now, this is what it created for you. You see, short wall 8, short wall 8, and the distance 16 feet. And that's what it created. Okay, now, so you can do the same thing by going in here, hidden room, and then click, right? It's a 12 by 12, right? You go right in here. Now, this has a lot of options, right? So on the ceiling type, you can tell it peak, just like we had earlier, right? And then on the peak height, we're going to do the same thing. Let's say 16, and you see short wall and tall wall 8. Look, you hit 3D, boom, same thing. Okay, now, so let's say you come in here and you wanted a slope. Now, slope is from one end to the other. That's what that means. You go in and you want it to be a tray. And y'all seen this before. So if you go 3D, now you see how you can see? If you hit Shift C, now you can see the tray. So I'm going to go inside this room. The way you go inside this room is you just keep on enlarging, and all of a sudden you're inside that room. Okay, you like that, Tommy?
I do, man. I'm getting excited about learning new stuff now.
Okay, well, you know, I'm going 100
know,
miles an
I
hour,
know,
but
I know. I can
remember,
always
now,
reference
now
it back.
I'm doing this for you, so you can always come back and reference this. Give me 5.
And remember, if you like this video, also subscribe.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I always forget to ask it to beg y'all for that. He always does that for me. So, man, very, very good student, man. Not just because I mean, I'm telling you, he's learning real quick. You're gonna see him on some of my videos. Uh, there's not too many people I use in my videos, but uh, he's one that I didn't mind putting because we're not stumbling and tripping over each other. So we were able to successfully do some cool videos that you're going to see in the internet. Anyways, let's go back to 1D, go back to the types of trays. Now, the last one I see here is the attic. Okay, so you see, this is what an attic tray looks like. You see, you go inside, and y'all seen this. Okay, this is what it looks like inside the room. Okay, see? Okay, boom. Okay, so that's how, and of course, you have all of this information down here that, like for instance, I'm just gonna turn this into a box roof. We're not gonna go over every one of this pull downs because I have a bunch of other videos that you can see, and it explains everything and more than what you're seeing here. Okay, so for right now, let's just go and move over to the next thing. So we got room. Let's go with walls. Okay, so let's go and create a room. Let me tell you what this walls does. So if you hit Shift W, which is this right here, you see the pull down menu. It says it's Shift W. I don't use those pull downs. So I hit Shift W. I can click here and put a wall here, click, and I'm going to hit escape, and that releases it, right? I can hit Shift W. So let's say I click, click, click. All right, let's click, click, and click, and then it automatically creates a room. Okay, so that's what your walls does. Okay, and sometimes, so you know, one good thing about that pull down. Let's say you have R for room, and you have a here. Let me go up here. You have a room here, and let's hit Control C, Control V, and you have another room right here. Oops, right here. Okay, and in between all of this, you had a room that connected all this together like a hall, right? You can have to hit Shift W. You could connect those two together, right? And then let's say you hit Shift W, and let's say you connect these two together. Okay, you hit Shift W. Oh, big dummy. Sketch. Shift. I'm hitting Control Shift W. and let's say there was a wall here. Now watch this. Once I hit this Shift W and I click here and here, it's going to create and combine all those rooms together. Boom. See, not combine them, but make like a hall for all of them. And there's a lot more things you can do with that a wall. Shift W. Keep on hitting Control. I'm getting too excited. So Control K will get me back to my sketch. Okay, so Shift W. Let's say that you just want to do this, and you can actually create a, a room like that. Okay, so we're going to move on to more and better things. Okay, so let's say that you had, let's say this was a house, and now you have a roof, right? If you go in here, now we're going to go over some of this stuff, but we're going to go back. So I'm going to go to this plus sign, and I'm going to call this second level a roof, right? So now I could go in here and create a uh, a roof from the underlayment that we have. So let's just say I'm going to hit F for roof, space, and we're going to make this into a gable, right? So watch what I'm going to do. And this is, just going to be like a rough. Okay, so watch this. So I can hit break right here, and I'm going to pull this down, and I'm going to hit a B here for a break, and I'm going to, oh, that's not going to work, break. It'll work there. So, and I would snap this right there. Then I'm going to hit B, break again. Okay, and oh, that won't work. That will. So go right in here, and then I'm going to hit another break here and snap. Now I'm doing this real fast, so it would actually look better than this, but break. This is just showing, oh, break. Uh, and then hit another break, and then that's it. And then, okay, so you hit 3D, show all, so you would have those rooms that I just created, a roof. So now let's go back to the main window. So one thing we haven't gone over is your walls and windows, right? So look, so there's your windows and doors. So let me show you some real quick stuff. So let's say doors. If I hit D, I hold my control key, I can place windows wherever I want just by holding down my control key, right? Now I'm going to hit Windows, so it's W for Windows. I'm going to hold my control key and just place a bunch of windows just by holding my control key. I don't have to hit Control V. Okay, so I'm just placing windows. Now I'm going to go to 3D, select all, and boom. See? Wow. Okay, so I'm just showing you a brief. Remember, I have 100 videos that explain every one of them in detail. So I can't remember nothing in this whole Xactimate that I don't teach. Okay, so now we talked about windows, we talked about doors. Now let's talk about decks and fences and staircases. Okay, so remember, guys, I'm going real fast, but this gives you an idea. This is all this is. This is not a training. This is letting you know what Xactimate does. Okay, so now we're going to create a deck. So if I hit uh, Shift D for deck, I'm going to, and you see how it highlighted that. I could have used that pull down. If I click here, and then I create a deck around this area right here. Okay, so now I have a deck that goes around this area. So, and let's say I'm going to click here, 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 and I'm going to put balusters in this thing, right? So if I go to my properties, you see where's, here, 1 second. Control Enter. Oh, railings. I'm going to say yes. Frame, right? So let's click here, click here, click here. Control Enter to go to your properties, frame. Now, this is what it looks like. See, I just created a deck. That's what a deck's for. Now, what we're going to do, and we'll talk about, um, so I'm going to show you two different ways to create. Uh, one thing we haven't talked about is staircases, right? So watch this. I can go in here, and let's say that I had a staircase. If I hit C for staircase, I can hit space, and it'll automatically create a. It won't let me. Here, you see, you see how you don't let me put it in there, right? Because inside a room, but you can trick the machine by hitting C, and then what you do is you click, let go, and escape, and now you just created a staircase inside a room. Okay, so now, so let's say that you were going to create a staircase here, because right now this is what it would look like. But let's say you needed a staircase. You could go in here and uh, put C for staircase. You would click, oops, excuse me, staircase. Let's say you put a landing, okay, and then you went up, put another landing, and you went up. Now this would be a big, long. I mean, I don't know, 3 or 4 stories. But so here, actually, you know what? Here, let's do it this way. So let's go in here, staircase, and we'll put one landing, staircase, landing, staircase, landing. Okay, so let's escape. So now I want to show you something. So I want to snap this to it, right? Watch what happens. Look what's going to happen. You get 3D. Whoa, look, the staircase. Now, one thing is it has walls. Well, do you have walls and staircases outside? No. So what you do is, like, if I select, you see where I have my mouse? If I click there, click here, and actually we're going to have to do it a different way. So I'm going to click here. No, excuse me. I select it. Let me see if it'll let me. There we go. Okay, so you see right here, exterior. I'm going to tell it yes. Watch this. All of a sudden, I don't have a walls, but look how high it is. No big deal. Simple stuff, man. This is kid stuff. So we're going to go in here. We're going to click here. You see right here where it says the thread base height. I'm going to select it, copy it, and then I'm going to select all of this. I'm going to control enter. I'm going to go to floor height, hit control V. On the above, I'm going to hit B for below, hit enter, and boom. Now we just lowered every, oops, 3D. Now look at that. See, we go down, we go up, and right in there. And so when you're looking at this stuff, you see one thing you don't have here is your balusters. Oh, so click. I'm not going to do them all. I'm just going to give you a little taste. So click here, go right here. You see where it says railings. You put yes, enter, and then 3D. Now you got rails there. You didn't have them. You don't have them here. Wouldn't take a second to do that, but that's what this stuff does. Okay, and then so 3D show all. Now there's your roof. Okay, so that's what all this stuff does, guys. Okay, 1D, control minus. Okay, what have we talked about decks. We talked about doorways, windows. I'll talk in a little bit about missing walls, snap. So now, so let's go. We've done this. Let's talk about fences. If you want to draw a fence, if I hit Control F for fence, you see it highlighted this, right? And I can put, let's say I had a fence from here to here to here to here and here. And then I escape, hit 3D, show all. Now, boom. What do you like that?
That's a trip.
That's a trip, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so now we've talked about everything except missing walls and snap lines. Remember, guys, this is just a small preview. I can talk about any one of these pull down menus for 3 or 4 hours. So remember, don't think that this is all there is to it. This is just little bits of teasing, okay? So now we're going to talk about missing walls. So let's say that you had this room here. you know, let's say right here, here you'd have a door, okay? That's not a missing wall. But let's say that you had something that looked like a door that was right here. What you would do is you hit M for missing wall. You see how it automatically selected this, right? And I just click and drag here. Then I could have 3D. Now you see, okay, so you see how I can't see in there, right? So if I hit Shift C, now I can see inside, okay? Because now I turned off my ceiling. Okay, so 1D, so right here, I want to look inside here. So 3D, you look inside, look, see, there's a missing wall from the bottom to the top, which is 6 feet 8 inches. And so you could go in here, make this as wide as you want. So it's just like a door, except it doesn't have a door. Okay, that's the difference between this and this. Okay, another thing, on this missing wall, you can go in here and instead of it being a rectangle, you could go in here and tell it round arch. So hit 3D and now look what it looks like. You see that arch? You know, it just, like I said, I can't go over everything. Otherwise, this would be like a 20-hour video or a 40-hour video. So this gives you basic of each one of these things. Now, let's talk about snap lines. So snap lines are, man, do I use them a lot, Tommy?
Yes.
I use them all the time. Okay. So let's say that I had a room and that room was like this. So I hit R. And this bottom part, let's say that room was way down here. But the bottom of this was to the bottom of that. That would be kind of hard to look to the left to see if you got it on there straight, right? So let me show you how you do that. If I go here, enlarge this area, hit S, and I snap right there, right? Then I go down here and then click here, move this guy, and move it right there. Okay, it's snapping. Look, so look, it's snapping to the center of it, right? Because I got it reduced so low. Now, watch this. Look, if I want to snap it to the bottom, I'm gonna have to enlarge this area so big that when I click on it, look, if I click on it right now, look, see, now I can, now right now, the reason that I can't snap to that one line is because there's this preference is called, okay, so if I go to my options, go to my preferences, you see where it says snap to grid. If I turn that off, then I can go in here and move this guy. You see, now it's not snapping to the center of this thing. Okay, now if you notice, see the bottom of that is lined up to the bottom of that. And this is just an imaginary line. Okay, that's what the snap line is used for, among a bunch of other stuff that we use it for. Okay, so we talked about this. Now we're going to talk about breaks and vertex. You know what breaks are, right, Tommy?
Yes, very nice.
Okay, so if you hit a break, you can extend this part of the roof, right? If you hit break, you click here and you hold the control key, it automatically creates another room. Okay, that's what the break does. Now we're going to, one thing we've never talked about is vertex. So Tom has been, this is his third day. The first day we really just got him certified for his Texas license, and then when he bought a bunch of other stuff, he trained yesterday and today. Man, he's doing real good. So now let me tell you what the vertex is. You see this diamond looking things on in the corner of each room? Okay, those is they're called vertex because then you can make them angles, right? So now let's say,
I've accidentally done that.
okay, yeah. So you never pull if you want to make something big, long. You never pull on this right here because if you do, look what happens. Okay, now let's say that I wanted to split this in half, but I wanted this bottom part to go down here, and I wanted this part to stay together. If I hit V for vertex, which it automatically highlights this, or you can click there to highlight this. So if I create a vertex here, then I can move this guy over and not,
Okay.
same thing here. So let's say that let's say if I hit the brake tool, go right here, extend this out, and I want it to look like a diamond, I would click here and then go in here and then just click here. You see? Or not that, So, do stuff like that. That's what the Vertex does. Okay, so we're talking about the brake. Now, here's this thing's called horizontal and vertical. You see how they're not highlighted? And I'll tell you why. Okay, so if we look at this and I click on this door, look what happens. Now I have flip vertical and flip horizontal. Now, I'm going to change. You see, this is my what we call the hinges to the door, because you see it opens up this way. I'm going to change the hinges down here. If I hold my open bracket, which is the same thing as flip horizontal, it flipped it horizontally. You see, or I can click here. Watch, same thing. Now, if I want to move it vertical, I want it to go up and down. I can do my open brackets. It's the same thing as clicking here. Okay, so that's what horizontal and vertical. Also, let's say that you have a room and you have it highlighted. And here, let's make it long like this, because a square is hard to see what you're doing. So if you select it, you can flip it horizontal, right? Flip it vertical. You're not seeing it, but it's actually flipping it. So let me put a door here. That way you can see it. So if I click here, look, flip horizontal or vertical. You see? Okay, and let me put a door here so you can see it flipping horizontal. Oh no, I selected that thing, excuse me. You see, flips horizontal. Now let's say that I want to, now we've talked about brakes, we've talked about vertex, flip horizontal, flip vertical. Now we're going to talk about rotate. If you click here, and then if I move it around, I can rotate it at 22.5 degree angles. Okay, now, if I can also, by holding my tab key, or I can go shift tab and go the other way. Okay, so now let's say that I want to rotate at 45 degree. All I do is just click there and it's only going to rotate at 45 degree. If I want to rotate at 90 degree, it goes there. Now, if you wanted to free rotate, if you click, because as soon as you select it, you click rotate, then it gives you this weird looking color, right? Now, if I click and drag, it's going to rotate at 22.5 degrees every time it snaps, right? Now, if I hold my shift key, I can go at 1 degree increments. Okay, if I let, yeah, that allows me so that it don't snap to 22.5 degrees. Okay, now the last thing we have here is called Arthro-Rotate, and a lot of people don't have an idea of what that is. So if you click here, what I'm going to do in one stroke, I'm going to make this perfect vertical, right? So if I click on rotate, go to Arthro-Rotate. If I click on this side and then I tell it right there that I want that to straighten up, boom, I'd straighten it up. Oh. That's what Arthro-Rotate. So now we talked about uh, rotate. Now here's this thing called scale. This scale ain't gonna do nothing to you unless if you go to the roof, if you have a roof. So let me remove this, and so right now if I select everything, okay, no, I don't even gonna, you don't even have to select it, because it's gonna enlarge everything in this level. Okay, so I'm gonna see what the distance from by hitting this little thing. I'm gonna see the distance between here, and it is 46. Let's say 46.4. Remember, I'm not being real accurate right now. And now let's say I want it right now. It's 46.6, right? So if I click from here to here, and instead of 46.6, I tell it I want it to be 100 feet. Watch what's going to happen. Oh, I told it 1,000. Boom. So let's say 100. Okay. Now you see how it enlarged it? The Control Z. It enlarged the whole thing. All. That's what the scale does. It only works in roof. As far as I know, I might be wrong. I've been known to be a dummy, so You know, they don't. Okay. Anyway, so we've talked about horizontal, rotate, scale, orientation. Let me tell you what orientation does. So let's say you have a staircase. If you have a staircase and and I'll put the landing in there and hit escape. So you see that up arrow? So if we go 3D, you see it's going up the stairs, right? See, it's going up, right? Now, if I hit in, which is orientation, and right now, look, it's facing up. And I click down here, now it's facing, now it's going to be going the other direction. I hit 3D. Okay, so right now it's going up this way. Hit in and change it. Oh, right here. There we go. Sorry about that. Now, look, 3D. Remember, it was going one direction. Now it's going out the other direction. So that's one of the places that you can use orientation. So same thing, you go to a room and you click here. The room is it is a slope. Okay, so if you notice, if you go 3D, oh, here, let's go, what did I hit? Peak. So let's say it's slope. Come on, Slopey. There you go. Right now, 3D is going this direction, right? Up. You see how the arrow's going up. Hit in. You're going to see this thing light up. Hit in. Click here. Now it's going the opposite way. 3D. Boom. Okay, so that's what orientation does. Floor and orientation is for this right here. So I'm going to hit Shift Control R. I'm going to bring up some more windows. And I'm going to put this center in. Actually, that one I'm going to center in the center. So if I put, now this is called estimating, floor covering carpet, and then I select carpet and click here, then you see that arrow here. So, you know, what I'm going to do, let me make it smaller here. So take that back. Okay, so let's make a small little room, and then we create a room. We're going to combine those two rooms together. Then we're going to go to floor covered carpet, select carpet, select both of them, hit escape. Now I'm going to go to my views, and I want to see the display carpet. Come on, carpet, where are you at?
Display validation?
No. Okay. So display really what the heck? I'm losing it, guys. Oh, well, it's because I don't have it selected. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, here we go. So let's view, outline, input grid, frame, footing, floor overlay. Here we go. Now you see, man, I can't believe I couldn't. I've done this 100 times. I'm losing it. I'm losing it. Okay, so carpet comes in 12 feet rows. 14. I think it's 12. No, it's 12. Okay. There are special carpets that you can get at 14. So right now, if you had a long carpet, so let's say the carpet was real long and it looked like this, right? It would go from here to here, and then you would have a little piece that you would have to cut out. So this is what this thing is. Now, let's say that I wanted to change the orientation. Right now it's coming this way, right? If I go in here and put in, and then it's not letting me change the orientation. Why not? Okay, in. Oh, in, dummy. Yeah, not changing it. Okay, well, normally it would change it for you. We're not going to spend a lot of time on that. So, no, it's that. Oh, okay. Oh, the in is supposed to work. Oh, no. This is backwards slash instead of in. Damn, I forgot my commands. Ooh, I'm getting old. I'm 61. Okay, so where's that command at? I don't think it's this one. Let me see. Let me escape. And okay. Well, this one right here. Tommy pointed it out to me. So you see right here, it changed the orientation. See, then I'm going to go into floor orientation. You see right now this arrow is going this way. You click right here, and now it's going the other way. Okay, so that's what that is. Uh, Now we're going to talk about blocks, and we're just going to do this real quick, and we're almost done with this. Um, what you call this menus. Okay, so now we're going to go to the main room, and let's go to this uh, room 2. Let's say that I wanted to put like a shelf, cabinet, vanity, or something. Uh, I could click here, select this block, snap it right here, and then so this is what it looks like, right? So you see it's a small block, right? I can go in here and make it wider. I can make it the depth smaller. I can tell it that I want this to be 2 feet from the floor, and I want it to be 1 foot high. Okay, now if you go to 3D, you see it's 1 feet high. It's 3 feet from the floor. We change the width and we change the height. That's how you work the blocks. On aerial, the only thing you can do with aerial is just remove parts of flooring, and let's say that the all the room was carpeted except right here was this was tile. You can put tile. So when you add carpet to this area, it's going to remove the tile. If you go in here and you go to the properties and tell it to create a, on whole, you tell it yes, then it'll remove this part of the carpet from here. So that's what blocks and arrows are. So lines are, so let's say that you wanted to draw a line from here to here, and it was four, so let's say it was 5 feet wide long. That's how you would do that. You put a line there, and you could uh, you could use this to create something that you're going to estimate at linear feet. Okay, so or you could put a point, and it's just for references. Okay, so and you could estimate with those. Now, let me show you one other thing. Now that concludes all the tools. Let's say that you create a new layer. Okay, so I'm going to create a new layer, and on that layer I'm going to call it DUP for duplicate, right? Now watch this. I'm viewing the main layer from here, and let's say that I wanted to duplicate this one room on this layer. So let me show you what it looks like right now. 1D, this is the main layer. Let's go to 3D. Okay, that's layer 1, right? Here's the roof layer, and then there's uh, the duplicate layer. There's nothing there. Okay, now, so we're back to the duplicate layer. I'm gonna duplicate this room on this by just clicking here and clicking there. Now, if you notice 3D, go show all. Now look at that. I duplicated that room directly right on top. You see, there's no other room nowhere. Now, let's say that I want to duplicate those two into this duplicate layer. Click on copy from underlay, click there, and now watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to click here, I'm going to hit my option key, and I'm just going to click, 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 hit 3D, show all, and now I duplicated all of those rooms. Okay, so now that covers everything in your tools. Wow, have we gone over all of that?
Yes.
Holy moly, I talk fast, man. Okay, so let's go into options. Now, this is real cool. Okay, so you have stuff called preferences, and which we haven't gone over. I just want to go over your main stuff. Your preferences, usually your IT people are going to be helping you, like let's say they're going to take over your computer and they're going to change the preferences for the carrier that you're going to be working. I know how to do all of that, and I have other videos that show you how to do that. But for right now, let's say that right now that so when I create a door, you see every time I hit D, look, it puts 2.6, 2.6. Every time I put a window, if I put a window, it always puts it 5 by 5 feet wide, 4 feet from the bottom, and um, here, I might be lying. Okay, 5 feet wide, 3 feet from the bottom, 4 high. This is what it looks like, right? Look, 3D. Okay, so this is what all the windows would look like every time you hit W for window. Okay, W. Okay, so now, so if you look at 3D, look what everything looks like. Because every time you put a window, that's what it does. Now, look what we're going to do. We're going to delete every one of them. I'm hitting the shift key. That way I don't have to hit delete, delete, delete. Boom, delete everything. Missed this one. Okay, now let's say that every time I click on the window, that window, I want it to be a 2 feet by 2 feet by 2 feet. Okay, so if I go to my preferences, I go to my windows and doors, I go to my default. For first, we'll start with the windows. Okay, so I want the window to be 2 feet. I want it for it to be 2 feet from the bottom. I want it to be 2 feet from the distance, excuse me, 2 feet high, 2 feet from the distance. Then I want my doors to be, let's say, 5 feet. And instead of a standard door, I want a sliding door. Okay, so now every time, and this is every time that you create something from now on this one particular document, not all the other documents, because if you want this to be permanent, you would do it in your preferences at your preferences. Okay, on your there's another preferences you would create. So now watch this. Hit W. I'm gonna hold my control key, and I'm just gonna create a bunch of little windows because remember they're only 2 by 2 by 2, right? Now I want to create some doors. I'm gonna hit D. I'm gonna hold my control key. Now it's gonna create mm, bifold bifold doors. Okay, I knew I'd get it. 3D. Now look, 2 feet from the bottom, each one of those windows are bifold. So that is what your preferences do. Um, so another thing that uh, we're gonna skip floor cut windows and toggle calculations. I never use that. Okay, so and inspect. Okay, that's to see if you're doing something wrong, but we're not going to go over that. Now look at this load templates. So you see right here, this room number 9. You see, if I wanted to use this room every time I wanted to use it, if I select this, I could go and hit save template, and I'm going to call room 9. Okay, okay, hit 9, hit OK. So now I'm going to delete it. So if I want to load this room, let's say I want 2 of them, right? If I hit load template and then I go to room 9, JK element P, room 9, right? Hit OK. Look, boom. Now if I want to put it down here, load template, room 9, it remembers the last thing we loaded, 3D. Okay, those are what those templates are. So what I've created, and you'll see this in a bunch of my videos. If I go load template, uh, template list, let's say I want a cabinet, this kind of cabinets that you'll see in some, load template, cabinet, this one right here. So the best thing to do, remember I was telling you to click here, that way you don't lose it. And I don't do what I preach. Okay, so oh, okay. So you see right there, it won't let me do that, and I'll tell you why. You see that little line? It shows that it's uneven.
So there's an error, so it won't
Right.
allow you to proceed at all.
Right.
Okay.
Now, look, I straighten it up. Now it lets me snap to it.
Okay.
Okay. And so this is what that lower cabinet looks like.
Okay.
You can go in here, load templates. And guys, y'all can email me and get a copy of all this stuff that I have here. Like, let's say you have what?
Let me ask you something.
A toilet.
Something we ran into the other day. If I remember this correctly. So I'm on X1 training, so I can't load any templates because it's a free.
It's because
it, right now. So
but once you get your full version, huh? Once you get your full version, you can you can get all this stuff.
People know that, you can't.
So these are templates that I created. Okay. So, um, so now we've gone over load templates, save templates, export and import. Okay. So let's say that I had a photo. Okay. Um, let's, I'm going to import a photo and I'm going to call it photo underlay. Let me see. Insurance folder. Let's go to the name. I hope I got it. CAG claims. Uh, mm, Trying to figure out where I have. Oh, let's see. DMA. Okay, here's a bunch of my claims. Let me see if I can find a photo. Mm, okay, elevations. Good. This will be good. Um, okay, so this is not a very good example of one, but I'm gonna hit OK. And I know from here to here is 6'8" because that's what the size of a door is. So 6 comes